Hi everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Eileen and I'm actually from the Party Post Malaysia and I will be your host for today. So if you have not heard of us yet, Party Post is one of the fastest growing influencer marketing platform in Asia, and we aim to help brands like you to connect with people to create word of mouth advertising through social media. This morning, you are in for a treat. As you already know, right, who is going to come and grace our presence today, as we'll be learning how to build a powerful presence through content/social media marketing. In the digital age, there's no denying that social media marketing is a must-have for every brand and every company strategy. With dozens of platforms and thousands of tools out there, there's no reason for any 21st century brand to not have a digital presence. I believe all of you will concur with me when I say that. It wasn't too long ago, okay, maybe just 2 decades ago, when the internet was just in its infancy stage, and digital media has yet to be widely used platform for marketing strategies. The likes of Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter were very much still in development. Digital marketing was not in existence then, and online communication was still very in the medieval, that kind of sense, limited mostly to text posts like blogspots or maybe ICQ if you can remember. And if you are as young as me, you would definitely remember how images take forever to load. Nobody could have ever foresaw then internet and social media would grow into what it is today. And it's still evolving as we speak. And yet, there are some brands out there that just somehow got the right pulse and the foresight to just see how big and influential of a playground that the internet would become. So let me take you back to present day. And with the exponential growth of the internet and lifestyle changing pandemic, it's for certain now that nearly everyone, brands and consumers alike, have an online presence of some kind. We all have since migrated to digital first basis, which means the playing field is now vastly different from even just a decade ago. So in just a short few years, global lifestyle and economies have changed, which means consumer habits have changed, which also means that marketing landscape is also no longer the same place we thought we used to know. So now we are facing another new age challenge. How do we make the best use of these tools to reach our objectives? Or simply, how do we build a powerful brand presence amidst all the clutter? The answer seems simple, but at the same time, we all know how difficult it is to really execute it. Do we know how to connect with our customers in an authentic way in this oversaturated world that could lead to reactions, especially as we build a post-pandemic and predominantly digital world? Or do we think we know? That should be the real question. And yet some brands are lucky. And they somehow manage to find the right solutions. But can we really attribute it to luck? There are actually brands, some of it is with us today, that have been able to navigate these waters of online marketing and build their entire brand from ground up, mostly just by using the tools of the online world. These brands that I'm talking about and the people behind them are the natives of digital marketing space, whether or not they admit it or not, and have known it inside out through plenty of trials and error, or should I say, A/B testings. And even in spite of the pandemic, they persevered and created strategies that have driven real measurable growth, both short-term and also in the long run. Two of those brands are with us today, and we are really honored to be given the opportunity to have them here to share some of their stories and lessons from building up a brand presence through content creation, especially on social media, which will translate to real growth, and of course with dollar and cents attached. all while running their business at the same time. One word was repeated in our conversations during our meetings, surprisingly and not surprisingly from both of them: authenticity. What is authenticity all about? And how do you achieve that for your brand? Before we dig deep, let's take a look at who do we have on our panel today. Firstly, let me calm my nerves. Firstly, we have the very multifaceted and multi-talented Malaysian sweetheart who's been in everything from publishing to cake decorating to fashion and now to toothpasting over her 12 years career. And in between, it's all about it all has built up a powerful and inspiring personal brand just from following her passion and instinct. With a combined social media following of hundreds and thousands of followers, she's maintained her dedication to creativity and authenticity over a decade later, and won't be stopping anytime soon, I believe. Introducing Asma Nasaruddin of Gigi.
Hi everyone. First of all, Eileen, that was what an introduction. Thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who's joining in this morning. I'm so excited. I think Eileen has said it all about me. So let's hear about Helen.
Okay, now the cat is out of bag. Also joining us on the panel today is the founder and the face behind one of the original innovators for self-made entrepreneurs and digital marketers in Malaysia. She's built up her clothing brand in 2005 along with her sister from an innate passion for fashion, and first started building her brand presence on Blogspot. Not only has it been a household brand name that no woman in Malaysia have not heard of. Today, her brand has a global presence across Southeast Asia and is still growing and is ready to take on the rest of the world. Let's give it up for Helen Tan of Doublewoot. Hi, Helen. Sorry, I think you're muted.
Oh, so sorry. Thank you so much. I was saying I have goosebumps with your introduction. It's like talking about five. What is that? Is that dinosaur age? Anyway, thank you so much, Party Post and Eileen, for having me today.
We are actually happy you are actually with us today. So let us welcome them as we go on a journey with them on an insightful panel discussion this Wednesday morning on how these two ladies managed to grow their business exponentially through just creating the right content strategies for their business. Okay, so are you the ladies feeling nervous now?
Yes.
No, now I'm ready. I'm ready to have fun. I'm ready to have fun.
Yes, please don't be, as we're going to have plenty of fun today. But on a serious note, like I've mentioned earlier, we are really honored to have both of you to shed some lights on how you ladies manage to grow your business through creating the right content strategy. We have planned so many questions for you today. We just make sure that we have enough time for all of them. And I believe the crowd is ever so eager to hear what you would have to share with us today. I would say that you guys are like the OGs when it comes to Malaysian content marketing. But just before we get the banyak because you guys deserve it. I mean, you guys been here for not a very long time, but a long time, and you guys have seen it all. So we are really curious as to what you're going to share with us today. But just before we get the ball rolling, right? Yes, you can also send in your questions via the QR code on the screen, and we will answer them. I would rather Asma and Helen will answer them by the end of this webinar. So that's sorted. Let's begin. Helen and Asma, both of you have definitely came a long way and have made a mark in so many different ways, be it in the industry you're in, economically for Malaysia, and also in some of our lives. Both of you have shined in your own light as you juggle multiple hats, and the two of them being, business owners and also influencers. Can you tell us a little bit about how it all started? So let's start with maybe Helen first.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Helen. So I'm the co-founder together with my sister Helen of Doublewoot Fashion. So Doublewoot Fashion is a Malaysian clothing brand. We are a homegrown clothing brand where we bootstrap our business since the year 2005. So it all started from purely the passion for fashion, which who doesn't like, which women doesn't like fashion, right? I believe all women love fashion. So it started back in year 2005. So my sister and I, we we bootstrap our business. We take clothings from the wholesale. At that time there was Kenanga Wholesale Center, and then we took ready-made clothings from there, and then we pick pieces that we ourselves love to wear, resonates with our style, and then put them on sale. We took our own photos and then we published them on Blogspot. So we feel that through the time we feel that our taste also resonates with the audiences. They actually love what we bring in. So that's how it first started. And through there, after like several years, we are still online up until today. We are 100% online. So we ramped up, we set up an e-commerce business, and then we moved from Blogspot to a proper e-commerce store. We automate our processes, and that's how we also engage a manufacturer overseas to manufacture our own clothing brand, a dedicated manufacturer, because we want to create differentiation through the clothings instead of just purely taking ready stocks. We want to bring in clothings that actually tailored to the Asian fit, such as the fitting, the size, and all that. So that's how we transition from how we first started, from just taking stocks up until today.
Okay. Then we move on to Asma. How did it all started? I know it's a slightly different route, but the end point is the same, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I started blogging about 10 years ago. This is when Blogspot was like the thing, no Instagram and all that. So throughout the years, though, I dabbled in like YouTubing, but Instagram was the one that stuck with me. For the most of the time that I was blogging and Instagramming, I was having like a full-time job. In fact, like sometimes two full-time jobs. So me sharing and writing on Blogspot was like purely a passion of mine, just like a hobby. And I was looking for a place where I can share and that just wanted to connect with people. I think at that time it was still kind of new, but not. So after about 7 years doing that, I think I only started looking at like being an influencer, content creation as like a full-time job. So it's only been 4 years that I've done it full time, where I actually see it as a business and as a way to like earn an income, which I think is really amazing because for like 7 years of me doing it as a hobby, I didn't even think to monetize, or I was even afraid actually, because my main fear was that it would take away the authenticity if I were to take money. So in case any of you guys are here listening to this, like don't mistake creating it as a job as it being like any less authentic, especially if you're just speaking your truth and sharing what you genuinely love. Yeah, so after that, I realized as well, like the digital landscape and social media is like continuously changing. And I was like, okay, Instagram is not going to be around forever. And this is before TikTok came about. And true enough, there's TikTok now. So I was like, okay, I need to diversify my income and diversify like what I do. And that's how I ended up thinking I need to start a business. And so that's how Gigi came about. So yeah, so now I'm doing content creation and then running the business.
Okay. Both of you have shared like you guys actually started from a different point, but you guys are also doing one thing which is the same, which is content creation for your business or even for yourself as a personal brand. So I have this cheeky question that I want to ask. Like, how has the journey been so far with the transition? Like Helen, it's like a business owner to a content creator. And then for Asma, it's like a content creator to a business owner. Which roles do you guys prefer more?
Helen, you go first.
Yeah, sure. So it all started. How do I actually become a content creator? It's actually all started during MCO, where we couldn't hire models. That was like what, 3 years ago? Oh my god. So at that time we couldn't hire any models, and we couldn't go out and do shootings. So what I did was, I'm the kind of person who couldn't stay still. So I created a lot of contents inside the house and also partner with a lot of brands to create awareness. That's where we started the movement called Flatten the Curve with Doublewoot. We collaborated with brands, with our customers who are also bought at home, customers slash influencers, KOLs who are also bought at home. So we send them our clothing to create a movement. Like you can also cook at home, you can also do lots of things, but still wearing Doublewoot. So that's how we try to maintain the noise, the awareness, the need to also wear Doublewoot at home. So I myself also created a lot of contents, like transition contents, like pieces like what would you do if, what kind of pieces will you wear? That time there's a lot of those TikToks videos where
Yeah.
transition with
Yeah,
clothing.
I remember.
So that's what I did. So that's how the turning point, how I transitioned from a business owner into content creator. And also my background was also in multimedia and design. So I find joy in creating content. So that's why that's also a place where I can also release my stress and at the same time also create value for my business. It created noise, created value, and also ROI. So I can actually persevere through the pandemic. Although people cannot go out, but they can still buy double pieces because they see that everyone is still wearing double at home. So that's how we are able to strive through the pandemic. The sales kept coming in as well as we're able to stay afloat up until today. So that's how actually I turned into a content creator, and I find joy because I brands that we collaborated with actually resonates with our style. Like for example, beauty products. That's how I also learned that how to take care of me. I mean, if you follow me, you'll see that I don't look like this. So if that's true, the products that I try, how to take care of my skin, that's how we can actually create self-love, that which is also beneficial for my personal lifestyle as well. So that's how I feel that through collaborations, through partnering with brands and also influencers, that is able to bring a win-win situation to both parties. So that's where I uncover the true potential, the real potential of collaboration, I would say. And of course, I also learned a lot. It's a really curved learning point for me, the KOL world. I learned through KOL agency. I learned the term engagement rate, rate cards and all that. So I learned so many things. It's like, oh wow, this is a new world for me. But I truly enjoy that because the brands, I pick the brands that I work with, and which resonates with my style. And then I also do not lose myself. So I wouldn't promote products that I don't think I will use it, which won't benefit me. So yeah. So if you ask me which role do I like better, I think I like both.
Okay, I think that's a very wise answer. But what about you, Esma? What is your take?
I think my comfort zone, like what comes natural to me, is definitely content creation. Like I wake up and I'm just like, ooh, what can I share today? But as much as I love it, I'm also loving being like this new founder, like entrepreneur, because I feel like it really pushes me out of my comfort zone, and like I have no choice but to learn. Like I'm constantly learning new things so that I can fulfill like the different roles that you have to play, when starting like a business. So it's what's natural to me is like content creation, but what's exciting is being like an entrepreneur, because you're always learning something new and you have to be open to like a lot of change. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. It seems like, before I actually move on to the next questions, it seems like everything is nice and dandy, but behind that is a lot of hard work. So my question is, building a brand presence or even building a personal brand as, an influencer, for example, it's never an easy task and it's a never-ending process. So how do you even manage to navigate where you are today? And then do you incorporate, by any chance, like you, Asma, do you incorporate your own personal branding to Gigi? If not, right, how do you actually differentiate both of them? Maybe we start
Um,
off with Asma first.
Yeah, sure. So to begin with, I think personal branding is so important, whether it's for your business or you yourself as a person. Like that's what will set you apart from anything else, especially in this landscape where everything is so saturated. I think like for me, my personal branding was able to be strong only when I started to really get to know myself. So I think you knowing who you are is so important. So what you share, what you're passionate about, it becomes very clear to your followers and the community that you're trying to build. So I think getting to know yourself is so important for all the content creators out here. Like, if you don't know who you are, you're gonna get lost in all the trends that's constantly coming your way, and then you get pulled like left, right, and center. And then when it comes to Gigi, I wanted it from the start to be able to stand on its own as a brand. So yes, it's founded by me. I've created this brand, but Gigi on its own, it's still it's got its own messaging, But the only thing that I try to bring with a part of me to the brand is the optimism, the feel good, the positivity. So that one, but Gigi on its own, like I want it to have its own narrative. Yeah. So personal branding is so important.
Okay. And what about you, Helen? Like you guys started with an innate passion for fashion. Before then you weren't like, oh, I want to be an influencer at that point of time. So how did your brand change with the new journey that you have set on the last 3 years?
So like I mentioned, how we first started was we carry on clothing that I myself and my sister love to wear. It's actually a reflection of a style. So Doublewoot, in essence, is actually a reflection of the founder's style. So eventually, the brand that we created, is a reflection of who we are and also the style that we want to carry, pieces that we want to wear. We feel good in wearing them. We feel confident in pieces that we wear. So naturally, I feel the branding will also reflect that. So we carry on from just a brand in selling fashion to after so many years, we find a purpose in our brand where we want to empower women. Well, empowerment is really such a big word. Everyone wants to empower something, right? So how do we actually, try to empower the people who actually wear our clothing? That's true. We do. So that's how I came up with, like, doing IG Live, where we invited various personalities to come on our platform to share with us. We share about mental health. We share about a lot of things, like, which can actually resonate to our audience. So that's how we journey with our customers through this platform, not social media platform, which is also a reflection of our passion. So that's number one. So number two, we are also contributing back to the society through the programs that we run. For example, we do offline programs. We partner with local hospitals, where we have just launched our Move collection, where parts of the proceeds of our collection also help in the charity fund. So that's how we create purpose and empowerment in the brand itself, by just not just selling fast fashion, but we also go deeper into women empowerment.
Okay.
I love that.
And,
That's really
and you're
great.
doing something similar with Gigi as well. Why don't you share a little bit about it?
Okay, so Gigi really is like speaking to women as well. The product itself, it's you can use it. It's for the whole family. It's for men, but the branding boils down to it speaking to women, because I understand women. I don't understand men. So I was like, Gigi, it's a brand for women. Like, I know how to talk to you. I know we appreciate self care, and so with Gigi, I just wanted to make sure that this is part. That we are making brushing our teeth exciting again and making it part of our self-care routine. And so the branding for it, and that's why as well the packaging, like, it's very distinctive. I don't think there's any toothpaste out there that looks like this, because I wanted it to be seamlessly sitting with all of your beautiful skincare. And so that is definitely part of our branding as well, that we are speaking to women, especially like women who enjoy taking care of ourselves, women who are, more health conscious, who are like the ones who appreciate good ingredients and all that. So yeah, just I love to have fun with women.
Okay. And I think one thing that I managed to gather from what you shared and what Helen has shared as well, it's having a very, basically having a focus, having an objective of knowing how to actually build your brand. But at the same time, how do you actually empower the community, be it women or men, to actually love your brand and at the end of the day be a loyal fan? So I guess this is something that is similar in what you guys do. And I want to thank you. The pandemic has been a very tough time. And I think, Helen, what you actually did with Flatten the Curve has made every woman, I would say, it's not just a housewife particular. I think every woman was actually stuck at home at that point of time. and making us feel beautiful. So thank you for that. And besides than looking beautiful, now we can actually keep our Gigi pretty as well. With Gigi, okay, that is a plug. Okay, then you guys were actually sharing in the beginning how you guys actually started from blogspots, right? So from blogspots to marketing on social media platforms, you guys started, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok or any other, social medias that is out there now. And definitely, you have an e-commerce site that caters not just to, Southeast Asia, but also globally. So can you tell us a little bit about your digital evolution journey and the challenges that comes with it? I think let's start with Asma this time.
Okay, so I think when I started, that was already Facebook, but Instagram was still sort of new. So I think over the years, what I've shared hasn't really changed. It's more of how we're sharing it. Because for me, from the start, it's always been about stories, like my personal experiences. I mean, honestly, the thing that motivated me to start a blog was when I went through my divorce. And I remember my mom thinking like, "Why are you sharing such a personal story?" And I said, no. I think the world we're living in, like we're seeking connection, and community, and authenticity. So I love to share personal stories. I love to share about my passion with fashion and my health and all of that. So I think what like the context of what we're sharing is still the same, but just everything has changed over time. With the introduction of Instagram, TikTok, and just within the social media platform itself as well. You have like reels, IG stories, there's pictures, there's videos, there's carousel. Like everything is changing so much. So I think like me as a viewer as well, what we enjoy has just changed so much over this digital evolution, and we have to be so aware of it. But for me, it's all about keeping that balance of like being aware of the trends, but at the same time, like staying authentic to what you are sharing. So that is what people will continue to follow you for. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Helen? I think most probably your digital evolution is like quite big from, a blogspot for a shop that's 100% online, right? And to
Yeah.
an e-commerce site that has catered to millions of women all across Malaysia and the world. And when you have sales, I believe your website does crash. I hope it, I mean,
Oh,
I mean, most probably you have experienced things
no
like this
problem.
before. Please share us.
Yeah. Seriously, on the serious note, yes, we have been through the digital landscape for more than 15 years. So we have seen how the digital evolution in Malaysia, and then how has the e-commerce industry grown so much. So we started off from just a blogspot. So it was really manual. Everything was really manual back then. We have to manually promote. There were no Instagram, no Facebook, no social media. So how do we do promotion at that time was just by, you remember there's a chat box at the side of each blogspot. And then that's how we have to sit 24 hours a day. Imagine there's no automation. Yeah. So we have to sit there 24 hours. Hey, we have new arrivals. Check out our blog spot, check out our brands, to invite people to come in. So we like spamming other people's chat boxes. So that's how we did for marketing. As for operations, it was really manual. Orders coming in, then we have to, customer inquire, like, I want to order this. Does it fit me? Does it suit me? Instead of now, we can just, okay, we do a live video. Everyone can see how does it look on a real body. So it's really, really different in terms of operations compared to now, and also marketing. So in terms of operations wise, an order processing could take like probably a day to process one order, from order coming in, payment verification. Payment is also, a lot of innovation has been done in the finance area. So payment verification, an order could take like probably a day. But now, after we digitalize our business from moving our blogspot to e-commerce, we automate a lot of process. So that's how, when order processing, time speed up to like probably 5 minutes to complete an order. You have API integration to integrate your website to external vendor like courier vendor, so you just automatically print it out and order. So that's how I feel that the digital landscape has actually helped us business owners to optimize our processes. And of course, I'm so glad that, there's social media where with a click of a button, you have customers coming in, they can see your products, they can even feel your products online through, AI and all that. So that's how the evolution from, to cut it short, there's a lot of evolution from being just a blog spot to automation right now. And of course, marketing, social media marketing has transformed so much from just like I mentioned, manual inviting people to come in. You can do so many things. You can promote on Facebook. Automation, if you're a lazy person, you can just use automation, just pay Facebook to promote for you. But if you're more hands-on, you can promote your brand, tell your brand story to lots of campaigns. So many people are willing to become your brand ambassador, to promote your brand for you, and to try ons, especially for fashion. I feel for fashion, we can tell a lot of story through social media marketing, where we have also capitalized on, we have created hashtag like travel with Doublewoot, double bridesmaids, double work. So we can actually create all these movement hashtags with social marketing. So I think, haven't gone out of the topic.
No. I think you just kind of widen it, but it's still within the territory of the question. But on top of that, I think Asma, just from hearing from Helen, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think digital evolution, like you said, it's no joke. I just think that nowadays there's just so many ways to market your product, market yourself. We live in a day and age now where we are actually spoiled for choice. So I
Yes.
think it's really great. That's why I say at the end of the day, you have to stay focused. Like what suits your narrative or what you're trying to sell or your product or your own story. So yeah, just being in tune as well of what your followers are responding to. I think that's really important. Yeah, and then I'm not gonna continue because I don't want to go off topic as well.
But I think
Because
one
it's a
thing you
topic,
say,
right?
Asma, which
Yeah.
yeah, because I think one thing that Asma you pointed out and Helen pointed out earlier as well is I think the most important thing is knowing what your audience are looking for, what resonates with them. That is actually the right way to actually create your angles, like your content angles and your content strategies. Because just to also share with you a little bit, so Party Post we actually work with a lot of influencers. So we run a lot of like polls and we done a lot of surveys with them because times has changed even from if I were to run a poll last year and this year itself, I would tell you that the options, I mean the how they actually chose or how they actually respond to things have changed differently. Like
Okay.
previously, they will actually like really pretty pictures and then they will really resonate with these kind of very aesthetic looking IG posts, right? But now they are sport for choice, like you mentioned, right? And people are actually deviating from that a little. They want something a little bit more raw. Real is the word. And also the most important thing is the connection that they can actually feel with your brand. I think both of you guys, one thing that you guys have mentioned since the beginning was staying true to yourself and then making sure the brand is not just about you, but people, when they know the brand, they know who you are exactly. I think that is very, very important. Then, like, we're talking about, saturation, we're talking about spoil for choice and things like that. In the past year itself, I think who doesn't like fashion? Who doesn't like makeup? Or who doesn't like, skincare products or even products to actually maintain your whole, look and also your health, right? So in the past few years itself, retail and beauty industries has been highly saturated. I believe both of you ladies would agree with me. And many brands are actually struggling to stay at the top of the mind consumers. So, however, it doesn't seem to impact you ladies that much from our perception, but you can definitely share with us. And because you've been using the power of not just from yourself, but the power of your community to actually drive this awareness. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've learned to use the power of community and also everyday people? Maybe Helen, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think that is undeniably, I think the COVID pandemic has actually crippled us in terms of the demand, and then it has changed so many perspectives in terms of user consumption. People are more mindful of what the things they spend on, especially in fashion. We are very impacted with the COVID pandemic. And also our supply chain has also been disrupted. We cannot travel, to everywhere. And then we cannot also inspect the quality of the pieces that we bring in. So undeniably, the COVID pandemic has actually crippled us, and we felt the it's not the same anymore, basically. Previously, before COVID, we are able to, travel everywhere to promote the products. But I'm so glad that, things are picking up right now. So that's where I feel that for us, probably it could be the reason why we are able to survive up until today, like we could, stay afloat after the pandemic. Probably it's because we have the first movers advantage, number one. We have tapped into our digital presence because we have been 100% online ever since we first started. We have a pool of customers, loyal customers turn influencers, because everyone wants to be an influencer nowadays. So we also tap on this area where we invite influencers, our community, to create word of mouth. Although they don't have millions of followers, but through this large pool of community of people who have actually tried and tested and believed and trusted our products, actually create a strong word of mouth to promote their products in a very authentic way. They tell a story for you. So that's how we actually capitalize on our digital presence to actually stay afloat during this pandemic. Even though, no, we are really grateful for this, because we actually have people who really trust our products, who believe, the value that we bring for them is not just, they know that the pieces that we wear can be worn again and again, and then we really curate the products for them. So that's how we actually tap into this pool of people who trust in us, create a trailblazing word of mouth where you can also wear Doublewoot at home, and then after the pandemic now you can still wear Doublewoot to travel. So that's how the power of community actually can lift your brand or also help your brand in times of crisis.
Okay. Okay, I think that's quite deep, very deep, and there's a lot of things to learn from what Helen has just shared with us. But I'm actually curious, what do you think about Asma on your journey?
I think what Helen said was really great. Just speaking of that, I think the power of community, you will associate it with the word trust. And that's what you need, I feel, for a brand to have that longevity. See, with Gigi, we're still new, but before it launched, I actually had a focus group. I had a few groups of focus group ladies because I wanted to start that sense of community like right in the early ages, even before Gigi launched. And so we got a lot of feedback from them, and I think just having like just these ordinary women, everyday women, try the product first, it really helps because they give like really good feedback, so I can really know what they want, what we can improve. And also just through them, like it's just a small group of women, but I think each of these women are so powerful because they are the ones deciding what they use in the family. They can tell their sisters, they can tell their moms, their friends, their colleagues, because it's different to fashion. You can't see toothpaste on your teeth. Like this is not something visible. So even more so with Gigi, like the power of community is so important. And we're still new, but I'm still making sure that we are building that slowly and making sure that we gain the trust of people. Because I think, like with word of mouth, it's so strong, and I think this is where micro influencers have that advantage as well, because they're still seen as very small. It's somebody, they're just like your friend. So people don't really look at ads in magazines anymore. I'm sorry if
You're
anybody.
right.
I used to be in publishing. It has changed so much. Like we used to read advertorials and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, we need to buy this now." Now, if you flip through a magazine, it just you have half a second and then people have moved on. As opposed to hearing people talk about your product genuinely online, giving their review, giving their experience, or you just texting your friend like, "Have you tried this?" So I think kind of harnessing that within your brand is so important. And actually, if I can just share quickly, like just yesterday, Adidas shared news that they are collaborating with like 11 small restaurants in 11 different cities. And these are like small local restaurants that you've never heard of, but they're collaborating with these local restaurants because within that restaurant they have managed to garner like a community of people, and so they are actually celebrating the power of community. And I think that speaks like volumes of how we should be carrying out our brand, like moving forward and focusing on community. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing that I managed to gather from both of you guys, but I think Helen put it aptly, is tried, trusted, believe in our product. I think that is very important, especially when it comes to driving word of mouth. I think staying true to who you are, giving quality products to your followers, being real with them. We are still trying to do our best, but at the same time, this is the best that we are having. This is the best thing that we have for you, and then letting them try, and not force feeding the rest of the public to think that it's an ad, right? Because they tried your product, they feel good about it, and hence they actually shared it out. Honestly, I think like what Helen has mentioned, everyone wants to be an influencer these days. But actually, if we were to take a step back, to be honest, actually everyone is an influencer. It depends on how big or how small you are. I could be an influencer with just 5% in my household, and I would be the one dictating we should be using X shampoo brand X and body shower gel brand X, right? So yeah, exactly. So it's just that with social media and content creation, and also with dollar and signs attached to it, hence influencer marketing is something that is actually booming in the market right now. You guys spoke in length about authenticity. You guys spoke in length about community and also content creation. But can I actually just get like, it's an ever-changing how to say, it's an ever-changing landscape. We might not know, influencer might be big now, influencer might not be big tomorrow, right? But what I'm trying to say is, with this ever-changing landscape, what is your go-to marketing strategy when it comes to brand building, if there's only one? We'll give Helen some time to think. Maybe we'll do it as well.
Okay, so I think because we're like an e-commerce brand, definitely social media influencer marketing. I think for now that is definitely our core, and at the same time, for Gigi, it's really noticing who actually uses our product. Like the first time we launched, we seeded it to about 50 to 60 ladies that we thought, fits in with the brand profile and everything. And from there, we observe who actually enjoys using it, like also speaking to them as well, seeing who posted. Because for me, when I sent out my PR gifts, I didn't say, please post it. I said, please enjoy using it and give me your feedback. So if they share it, then I know that it's genuinely something that they enjoy using. And I think this is very strong for brands to understand. You don't send out product expecting somebody to post it. You want them to really use it, really experience it, and then that's when social media influencer marketing becomes really strong because the followers are also seeing that they are loving the product. They are genuinely sharing it because they benefit from it. So for me, there's one strategy right now. It's definitely that social media marketing.
Okay, but before we move on to Helen, just very quickly, Asma, you mentioned you actually send in to people who actually fit in the brand perfectly. What do you mean by people who fit in the brand?
Okay.
Can you elaborate
First
a
of all,
little?
there's no perfect. You can get close, but that nobody will like really embody the brand that you are creating, but they can come close to it. So for me, it's about the personality. Are they authentic as well? What they share, is it aligned with the brand values and brand messaging? So I think it's very important for you to not just as a brand, send your product out to just anybody. It's so important to study the personality, just like how when a brand wants to approach an influencer, like you have to see if it's aligned with. Otherwise, then you miss the point. And it's okay. Like not everybody is gonna fit into your branding. Just like how us as an influencer, we might not resonate with a XYZ brand as well, and that's okay. So I think it's really important to make that match and to also study people for a while. There are some clients that I always talk to. Sorry, this is taking a bit too long, but they say like before before even
It's okay.
engaging before they engage me, they actually studied my profile for a year. So these are usually big global brands. So it's very it's something that I learned as well to first study the person for for some time.
Okay. What do you think about it, Helen?
Yeah, I think I learned something from Asma as well. So social media marketing is definitely our go-to marketing strategy. We have always been online. Through social media marketing, we can tap into the global market. Sometimes through gifting to small influencers. Also, it's through gifting, and then it's also very cost effective. And also, you can also see the sales coming in almost immediately after after you seed the products and they post it. You can almost see the sales coming in immediately. So the ROI is really, really fast. So that's why we are always going through social media marketing. So how do we actually craft a really good social media marketing campaign is where you create storytelling. Like probably you can engage this pool of influencers who actually, like what Asma mentioned, align with your brand values, your style, especially if it's fashion, beauty. You want influencers who are authentically, genuine in sharing your product. They tried and tested. They love your products, so they really believe in your products and also authentically willing to share your product through storytelling. So probably we engage them for like one IG post. We just, like you mentioned, the aesthetic post thing. After that, probably storytelling, your IG stories to share why they love your product, and probably it could end with another IG post. So I think it works really well in a package. You go for a package instead of just one time posting where people know that, okay, this person have actually used your product for several times and believe in your product and also share them authentically. So that's what I think, that after you have creating your brand, your storytelling, your brand for you, and then you engage people who believe your brand and are able to create a story for your brand.
I think one thing from hearing the both of you guys, something just really struck me. I think you guys really know who your consumers are, like who your audience are, because you guys can even identify which, I mean, basically, if we were to look at the IDA funnel, right? Like, the first is basically awareness, and then after that, the bottom part is where you actually convert them. It seems like you know exactly where they are, and you know exactly what kind of content that you should put out to actually bring them down the funnel to be at the end of the day be a converted sales. So I think I do not know if you guys are aware about it, but just from me hearing it, I can actually see that there is not just one strategy. I think there's a lot of strategy behind just a normal social media marketing strategy. So I think kudos to both of you. What would you say? I mean, because you guys have been, wearing two hats, basically, wearing plenty of hats, but the two hats that I'm talking about is business owner and also a content creator slash influencer, right? What would you say to a marketer, to any of the marketers who are here with us today? What is the one tip that you would want to share with them? Like that would actually exponentially grow, number one, their brand presence, number two, if it actually maximizes their ROI, that would be great. So what is the one thing that you want to share with them today? Asma, you want to go first?
I think it's all about building relationships. This is very important from my personal experience as well. You will not, I mean, at the end of the day, it is about ROI, but nothing's going to happen overnight. I love what Helen said that for me, like when I pick the right person, you will see it straight away. Just from one IG post, even from an IG story, you will see suddenly like your Shopify, like ding, 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 or like, thank you, thank you, thank you. But like I think it's really about building relationships and being patient as a brand. You have to make sure that even the influencer knows that you have their best interest. This is a partnership. So building relationships where you start seeding them products. Maybe you can't afford, like me. I'm only like 4 months old, Gigi. So we may not be able to afford paying the influencer yet. But hopefully soon. I appreciate influencers, all the work that you do. Nothing is free. I understand that, but like feed them the product first, know that they've got your back as well, and give them the flexibility. When you work with an influencer, you need to have trust in them. Like, you're coming to them for a reason. They know how to speak to their audience. So making sure that even though you want them to share your product, that they are staying authentic to their voice. Like, you don't feed them, such specific words and all that. So as a marketer, like, just being aware that who you work with, building that relationship is so important, because it will take you so far, and you want that person to be associated with your brand as well. So that's really something that when your followers see that person, okay, so I think about this brand, and that only happens when it's like a long-term relationship. Like Helen said, it's like a package. It's not just one post and then bye, we move on to the next influencer. It's IG stories, it's doing IG lives, it's doing reels, it's doing carousels, it's really sharing like the narrative of your brand, but through their own experience and their voice. Yeah.
Helen, what about you?
Okay, one tip for the marketeers, right? So I think Asma has been really great. I mean, in term because we ourselves are also a brand owner as well as content creator. Sometimes when we don't have budget, we only seed the products, but do not forget that you also can provide exposure as terms of as a compensation to content creators. Because personally, myself, I don't mind creating content for free for, let's say, you can create, you're aligned with my brand presence, that brand is actually what I love, what I really like. So I don't mind creating content for free. So I hope that the content creators whom I work with feels the same way as well. Because um, okay, so that's number one. And of course, building relationship with people that you work with, really explain your brand story, the brand that you want to promote, be it your clients or your own personal branding, the product that you want to promote, which you have engaged a pool of influencers, really to tell them, understand them if they really align with your values as well. Share with them this, okay, so this product is so, and then check with the influencer, are you okay to promote this kind of product? So if aligns, then yes. If not, it's okay to let go, because authenticity can actually be felt if it's forced or if it's natural, if it comes naturally. So I believe, it really takes a lot of time to really speak to the people whom you engage, study them, like what Asma mentioned, to check if they are willing to promote your product authentically in a way that it feels natural for them.
Okay. Okay, great. I think I have one last questions before we actually move on to the last session. I think from whatever that you guys have shared, the tip to all the marketer and to me myself as well, I think it is definitely an eye opener, and definitely there are a lot of adjustment and I say I will have to adapt to not just what I think I want or what the company wants, but it's more of what the consumer wants at the end of the day. So I have one last question. Only one last question. Would you think that, with whatever that you guys have shared, it seems like influencer marketing, you definitely need to put thought behind it. It's not just like, let's just find someone and run it just because nothing works and this is a last minute choice. Do you think that influencer marketing should be treated in that way? Helen?
I actually think that there are people around me, business owners, who actually think that way. But I feel finding the right agency to work with, agency who are willing to spend time to understand your brand, and also finding a pool of influencers who not only, okay, today they promote your brand, tomorrow the next post also same industry, same post with a selfie. So that doesn't make any sense. So I feel that in order to really make your money well spent, so if you are a new brand, understand your brand first, and then approach people. If you can't do it yourself, of course you are a business owner, you understand best what your brand values, your style. It will be the best if you can do it yourself. But if you have no idea how to do it, it's good to approach an agency who has done it all, pick up the tried and tested method to help you promote your brand. It would be better if this agency have worked with similar industry and have proven track record with how they have actually built this brand from this sales to that sales. To me, I always trust in the numbers. So if you can, give me the numbers, then okay, I can try and then set the KPI for them. And then, yeah, so I think it's good to have a clear definition of goals. What do you want? If you want just brand awareness, I think you can still try to provide seeding to them, to influencers to just post selfies for you with the product. I would not say it doesn't work, but it's good also for brand awareness. But if you want more ROI, you need to dig deep into what your brand values are and then engage people who authentically speak for your brand through storytelling.
Yeah.
Wow. Asma, anything to add to that?
Not really. That was beautiful, Helen. Oh, no, I mean, what Helen said was really, really good and in depth. But okay, I'll be honest. I actually forgot your question because I was just listening so intently.
My question was, what would you think, like, that is influencer marketing a last minute choice when everything doesn't work?
Oh, oh my
Should it
God,
be
no.
treated it that way?
Most definitely not. I think there's so much value in influencer marketing. And the thing is, if you do it right, like I said, you will see the ROI, and together you're going to build your brand presence and create that sense of community. I think influencer marketing is strong because there's the trust. There's also the fun element in it. You know, like when you work with different influencers, you get different flavors of your brand. So you need to think of it that way. Like you can't be so focused that my brand only has one way of telling something. No, like you gotta add the element of fun. So when you go to different people, you get, like I said, different flavors of your brand, and that's what you want. You want variety, and you want people to also have fun with your product and enjoy also what they're doing. And I think you as a brand, if you work with an influencer and they see that you value them, that's when I think it boils down to that building relationship and really banking on that longevity of creating this brand and this like power of community together. Yeah.
If I can actually end this session, I will actually just like recap whatever that you guys just said. It seemed like a brand can be one dimension, but because with the influencers that you work with or the community that has been growing with your brand, it actually gives it a different dimension. It's like it just adds value to the brand, and when everybody sees it, it's bigger than life, it's bigger than your brand, and that is actually the plus point that these people are actually bringing to you guys. So I think we have plenty more questions, I believe, from the floor. So at this point of time, thank you so much for sharing. I know I'll be asking a lot of questions. So before we actually move on to the next segment, we will give these two wonderful ladies a short break before they rejoin us again for the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So thank you so much, Helen and Asma. So I will see you really shortly.
Okay. See you guys soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I mean, if you have not sent in your questions yet, you can still do so by scanning in the QR code on the screen. We will get to them really shortly. We can move on to the next screen, please. From Helen and Asma sharing, right? Navigating through digital marketing is certainly not an easy task. What with the internet being an always changing landscape, what's normal and effective today might not just be so just in the next years. So that is actually what makes marketing so challenging. At the same time, it's fun. But if you look at it, one that's always been constant is that no matter how many technology advances, what will always be effective is basically the authenticity of human connection. No matter what platform, as heard by Asma and Helen earlier, no matter what people say, at the end of the day, we ultimately crave for simple human connection. But the good news is there are also good technologies and agencies that can help you create this connection in an easy, authentic, and effective way, which is what we've been working towards at Party Post. At Party Post, influencer marketing is our life and blood, and we made it our mission to help brands like yourself connect with audiences on real authentic level that leads to real world actions. How do we do it? We combine our diverse and growing talent pool with a state-of-art technology to activate influencers with not only at speed, but at scale as well. For the next segment, we have our very own Party Post Malaysia Business Development Manager, Keith Goh, to share with you, based on experience, some of the commonly asked questions or misconceptions when it comes to influencer marketing. Over to you, Keith.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me. So when partnering with brands, we receive a lot of common questions, especially during the first meeting with brands, an agency, of course. While the top questions will definitely is it important to work with the right influencers for your brands? So it is very crucial to always start with the understanding of your target market, the potential customers, consumers, before you finding the right influencers profiles, like how Asma and Helen have shared. I can tell they are truly understand and appreciate the power of word of mouth and the connections, the trust of the focus of communities. So to also chip in, influencers followers might be dynamic. It is best to have at least 2 to 3 influencer types to tackle every possible ways and have the brand message reach to your potential customer clearly. So with that, by activating a campaign with mass influencers, here I'm meaning to engage with probably like 100 or 200 influencers in mass volume, would definitely be able to tie back with the marketing rule of 7 and also keeping your brand message into consumers' minds and in multiple times. Next slide, please. So does one size fits all campaign works to achieve your goals? Okay, first of all, campaign mechanics must always align with your brand plan along with other marketing efforts in order to create a smooth funnel by converting your potential consumer into real customers. So marketers should always create a slot for your product in the market. I mean, the market is always a red ocean, but how can you position your product as the blue ocean and stand out among others for consumer to go with you instead of your competitors? So by engaging with the right influencers, they will able to create content by visualizing your brand message for consumers to understand and making them realize that, oh, this is something my potential customers has been looking for. By creating the wants, the needs, the urge of owning it, it is all about psychology of desire. So the agency role here is to work closely with the brands by understanding all the insights to create and curate the mechanics that best serve for the marketing activations and reach for the brand goals. The direction has to be aligned with every single marketing efforts. Every penny counts to maximize your ROI. I think this is a top priority of every marketer's concerning. So there's no one size fits all approach, I would say. Next slide, please. At Party Post, we advocate narrow influences, the power of everyday people. When it comes to celebrities, macros, those big names, we follow them because of the content. We all love consume their content because of the creativity. The surprise and the no way you got me message. Like, how could you deliver this kind of promotion and brand message to me? And I love it. So, okay, next slide, please. But for everyday people profile wise, we follow because of the connections. So they are our friends, they are our family, they are people that we already know in real life. The trust is very powerful. And reason being is because we know their personality, we know their taste, and with that, the influence power is incomparable. So just pull out an example which just happened to me. Maybe not me, my mom. So she happened to bought a rice cooker a month ago, and she just simply posted a photo of it on her Facebook. Turns out, there are more than 5 of her friends, texted her on WeChat, or call her and check about the rice cooker, and all of them got the same rice cooker. as what my mom bought. It is so organic and it is unintentionally helping the brands to reach out to the right potential customers. Not to mention, the help of my mom's friends knowing how picky my mom it is when it comes to cooking appliance. So it works. Next slide, please. But again, we are not here saying that everyday people profiles are better than celebrity or those big names KOL, but it always based on your marketing goals and the brands would like to achieve. For example, like celebrity and macros, they are always creating awareness, spreading out the message, due to the followers numbers are huge. But for nanos and micros, they tend to create the talkability, the engagement with more organic and relatable content comes with their own personal reviews and testimonial, which inject more trust and relatable context in the brand message. So your brand objective are always the first questions that party posts will love to know before we curated the best mechanics that work best for your brand. Next slide, please. Here comes to the first case studies, which is from Simple that we have worked with. So it applies to every skincare cosmetic products that takes time for the consumer to feel the effect and impact as well. So the campaign mechanics would be we got influencers to purchase the product, or the brand can also sponsoring the product for our influencers. And then the influencers will try it out, and probably after like 1 or 2 weeks, then they create the content to share their experience, their testimonial, and personal review about the products and shout out to their followers. So the relatable content will definitely able to connect the brand message with their followers because of the authenticity. Next slide, please. Then we have Insight Scope as the second case study, which also relevant to all the FMCG brands, whether is it offline or online. Not to mention, we have also worked with Old Town, White Coffee, Juice World, the Chicken Right Shop, and more. So how it works is we engage with everyday people influencers in order to try out their new menu. Their new flavors, enjoy the latest promotions, which usually align with the festive season and all. With that, influencers can also able to experience your services, to have a tour of your restaurant, franchises and shop, and include all this in the content in order to shout out to their followers. Sorry. We all know that everyday tastes are very subjective. However, because of personal connections of the everyday people, influencers we trust, we know the taste, which could be very relevant to more trust of the context and content that being shared by them. So now this is the power of engaging everyday people influencers. Next slide, please. Finally, we have one of our biggest client, JobStreet, which also able to cover all the brands which offering services or app. So when it comes to service or app, it is very vague and it doesn't come with physical form. So in order to deliver the message to the communities, it is best to have everyday people to share the love, receiving from every individuals towards the brands or services. It would definitely come from different perspective, as in what Asma shared, different flavors, some fun elements based on the awesomeness, the benefits, and the USP and the value that keeps them gel with the services provided, which will be highly connected with their followers. So for JobStreet, they engage with our party posters to share their personal experience on engage with our party posters to have a new job and having a dream career through JobStreet app. It is so relevant and it encourages everyone to start scouting vacancies from the app. Next slide, please. So how easy is it to run a campaign on our platform is? When it comes to old manner way, we all know how tedious it is. When we receive a brief, as in from agency perspective, we do research on the brand and then we find the right influencers profiles. We contact the influencers one by one via email, DM, WhatsApp, or whatsoever contact form, and then we negotiate the best rates, as what Helen mentioned, rate cards, and then we make sure that they're able to commit the timeline, they understand about the deliverables, tone and manner of the brands and products, and then we share across with the brands, and then that's where the shortlisting comes in. And finally, when we have confirmed all the KOL, we get them to create the content, and then we submit the draft to the brands, in order to verify the content and start posting on the social media once it's confirmed. Then finally we'll proceed to the payment. It is so tedious and so many tasks and steps, and not to mention when they reach out to the influencers, they are not interested with your brands. But with Party Postways, because we have our own campaign managers and also our app, we're able to activate influencers marketing at scale and with speed. So I will show you how Party Post ecosystem works now. Next slide, please. So first of all, when the proposal is confirmed, that's where our account managers will then live it on our campaign managers and then also on our app. And then that's where all of our party posters, they will receive a notification saying that, oh, there's a new campaign just came in. Then they will click into our app and then just read through the entire brief and understand about your campaign. If they're able to commit the timeline, they're happy with the payout, and they understand about the brief and they're able to commit all the deliverables as stated in the brief, that's where they will start pitching and register for your campaign. And then you will just, as a brand side, you can just log in into our campaign managers and start approving those profiles that you will love to work with. Then those approved profiles, they will then start to submit the content, which upload via the app, and then it will synchronize to our campaign managers. And this is where you will need to start to vet through and approve all the contents that being submitted. So nevertheless, you can definitely leave your feedbacks and then to share with your comment about the draft that they have been submitted, so they can revise until it is approved. Then only they will post it on the social media. Finally, our account managers will then compile all the performance insights, the reach numbers, the views, the likes, the comments and all, and then to compile it everything into the performance campaign report. And then we set the final meeting with you guys, the brands, the marketers, in order to share the learnings, the performance, and also to discuss on the next step, how are we able to improve from this existing campaign. Then finally, conjunction on our party persons will also receive the payout. Next slide, please. So we Party Post, we started in Singapore a few years ago, and since then we have expanded to Taiwan, Indonesia, Philippines, and also Malaysia. But this year we are also going to expand to Thailand, Vietnam, and Hong Kong. So next slide, please. As of this June, Party Post Malaysia is officially celebrating our first birthday. In the celebrations, we have exclusive discount of up to 50% off for all the campaigns throughout this month of June for the first 20 brands to sign up. For those who would like to learn more, please stay till the end and how you can book on consultation slot with us. Over to you, Eileen.
Thank you so much, Keith. If you can stay online as I invite the rest of the two ladies to join us again as we go through some of the questions that you have submitted as well. Okay, I think welcome back, ladies. We managed to gather quite a number of questions, and let's just try and see if we'll be able to go through all of them. If not, then most probably we would have to do it offline. It's something that because the guests are actually asking a lot of questions. So okay, let's start with a general questions for both of you ladies. So from Alyssa, in terms of content creation, the ideas that you have, how do you choose what will work and what will not work?
Good question. I think as a brand as well, it's really like trial and error. You have to give it a try. Nobody knows straight away what works, I'm sure like Helen, you've been in this longer, like as a brand owner. How did you navigate what works? Because for me, I'm still at the experimental phase. I'm still trying like everything out and then seeing what the response is.
Yeah, I think that's the same because one thing may work today and then tomorrow you engage the same influencer, same posting, but there's no sales. So it's all trial and error, and then through times, it's also based on consumers' trends, current trends. So I think it's all it's a lifelong A and B testing, I would say.
Yeah, I
Lifelong.
think for like an influencer itself, or it's just like from a perspective of a brand, because I think that would be two different. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if Elisa is asking, but if it's from a brand
Mm.
perspective, I think it's also important to talk to the influencers, like asking them what works if you are trying to like get sales, or what works if it's just for brand awareness. Because like you said, pictures are great for brand awareness, but for me, like when the client comes to me and say we have a sale going on, I say you don't need an IG picture, you just need IG stories. You know what I mean? Because different tools, they serve a different purpose, and I think it's very important for brands to be aware of that, and also to communicate with the influencer they're working with.
Okay. Okay. Keith, do you have anything to add? Because if you know, being in Party Post, we actually work with many different influencers. What is your take on what Helen and Asma just shared?
Um, I think yeah, I love all the points. I think Helen and Asma, being a content creators, you guys know how it really works behind the scene and how we're able to portray the content to the followers. I would say yes, it's always a try and error, A/B testing and all. One mechanic works, it might not work in the next month, and it has to be aligned with other marketing efforts in order to push all the messages to the right person. Yeah, that will be the key point.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Keith. Now we move on to a second question from Michelle. Among these social media platforms, there's FB, IG, TikTok. Which one can you say is the best for social media marketing at this time being? Asma?
For me, I think it's predominantly on Instagram. So I can't give the best answer because I don't market yet like on Facebook. From TikTok, it has been organic sharing. I've not done any paid thing that people have shared organically, which is great because TikTok goes viral very easily. But I would say for like a social media influencer campaign that's very extensive, I would say Instagram is the best because right now people are familiar with it, and there are different ways to use, like we said previously. You start off by an influencer sharing on Instagram stories, and then once they've built the trust from the followers that they're using it, they're sharing genuine reviews, and then you go on to brand awareness, which is posting a picture, and then you can go on to IG reels of showing like how you actually use it. So for me, it would be Instagram.
Okay. What about you, Helen? What is your take?
For me, I think we are, especially in fashion, because Instagram are more of reads, photos. I think Instagram works best for us. But we also use Facebook advertising, which I think we can see sales as well from Facebook advertising. So two of this. We have not have time to actually explore TikTok and all that yet. So yeah, currently it's Instagram and Facebook ads.
Just an extension to this question. Helen, have you heard of Xiaohongshu? So in translation, it's called a little red book. It's actually a social media platform that China, I mean, basically it comes from China. Predominantly, it's actually a Chinese platform, and it actually reached out to the Chinese masses. And then it was a big thing, I think, in China, and even Kim Kardashian actually owns a platform in this little red book, right? Basically, it's an e-commerce. Okay, I would say it's predominantly similar like an IG. It's like a TikTok IG thing where they can actually share review about a particular product, and then after that you can actually tag into your e-commerce site. So I'm not sure if you heard a bit about it, Asma, but have you heard about it, Helen?
No.
Okay, okay.
Thank you for sharing.
The reason, yeah, because the reason I'm actually exposed to these kind of platforms is because in Party Post we actually run campaigns on different social media platforms, and we have been actually getting requests on the little, I mean, basically run campaigns on the Little Red Book. And we've actually heard from some of our colleagues as well. They actually ran campaigns. We actually did a small one, a test, but basically anything that's actually posted there, they can actually garner a lot of eyeballs. So that was actually why I wanted to ask as well.
Is
Okay,
that an
but it's
app?
something to note.
it out
Yes,
right
it's
now.
an app.
What?
It's an app. Yes.
Oh,
I'm
but
a
it's all
banana, so I actually
yeah. I'm
yes.
also a banana actually.
Yeah, but it's really a game changer, and it is actually starting to creep in Malaysian stores.
So
Not
Nice.
they
so much
don't
in our neighboring countries, but more Malaysia.
they don't have English version, right?
Helen, so they are. It's called Lemon 8. It's even latest app that is currently having a huge I would say like a lot
Splash.
of Malays and people who can't read Mandarin.
Oh,
So
lemon.
yeah, this is the platform that they switch to.
Okay.
Lemon 8.
Yep.
Lemon with the number 8.
Mm.
Okay. Thank
So
you. I would know
the
more.
best thing about Xiaohongshu and Lemon 8 is you're able to actually click on the functions to search any post that is relevant nearby your locations. For example, you're looking for cafe, you're looking for some shop. Yeah, you can just click on it and then they will just push you all the content that is tagged nearby you. Yeah, so
Wow.
this is
It and
how powerful
Xiaohongshu,
it
is it under the same company? Both
is.
Lemon 8 and
No,
I guess
I don't
not.
think so.
Yeah, Lemonade is under TikTok. Yeah, but
Oh,
Show
okay.
is not. Mm.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay, I think we all learned something new today. Okay, I think there is a question from the QR code. Basically more on a brand's perspective. What is your opinion on influencers who unfortunately did not reach the KPI that has been set? What would you have done? Helen?
I did not do anything, seriously. Because as a content creator myself, I understand how is it like the time taken to create a content, especially for a brand. So if let's say for my brand I engage an influencer who did not actually meet the KPI, so I just do not engage them the next round.
Oh, that's very sad.
But Asma,
But I
what do you
think
think? What would you have done? Sorry.
paid and then but bye.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
again,
think
as an influencer, you guys should already know the numbers and all, right? So eventually, if they wouldn't able to hit it, they should have put in some effort in order to push it, whether to repost an IG story or whatnot. That's
Oh
another
yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah. Actually,
Yeah,
I
that's,
asked her to repost probably like other
yeah, yeah,
time.
like added value. Yeah, sorry, Asma, I
Yeah.
cut you off.
no worries, no worries. I actually am trying to understand like what do you mean by not reaching KPI because I don't think I've ever worked with a brand that said I have to reach this amount of likes or bring in this amount of ROI because at the end of the day you are taking a little bit of risk, you know.
I would say you are very lucky.
maybe maybe they trust me, but okay. So from a brand's perspective, if this is a paid post, I think you have to also investigate why, because
Yep.
it could have been at a point of time where maybe the algorithm is changing, maybe how the content was shared is not something that the followers are resonating with anymore. You know, like I still have brands that want me to post products beside my face, even though I say this doesn't work anymore. But they're still very adamant that they want it. So okay, so we respect it. So of course, you have to expect that if you're not listening to the feedback that the influencer is giving, you may not reach, the kind of likes or engagement that you want. So I really think at the end of the day, it can't be oh, you did you didn't do what we wanted you to do. So for me as a brand owner, I would investigate first,
Yep.
rather than saying sorry, bye, and move on to the next person because there must have been a reason why I engaged with you in the first place. So for me, it's building long-term relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. To
I
also
agree what
think-
Asma.
yeah, usually when we approach influencers, we always giving freedom to KOLs because everyone has your own personalities, the way of creating content, and there are sometimes brand come to us. I have to follow this kind of directions. Then that's where agency will need to manage the expectations, saying that this is how usually Helen's and Asman do the content. But if you insist, that's where you probably need to know that the result wouldn't be that great because this is not the way that their followers consume the content. Yeah, this is not them anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Maybe because I'm just trying to manage the time, but don't worry, please don't cut short your answer because I think at the end of the day, people just want to know what are your thoughts. So I think we can have two last questions. So we actually got individual questions to Helen and also to Asma. So I think we'll start off with you first, Asma. I think how do you balance creating content for yourself and content that's marketable and popular to your followers? I think this
Ah,
is a very tricky question.
yeah.
Wow.
No, I think it's a very good question because, if you want to stay relevant, you have to think about these things. At the end of the day, there needs to be a strategy. And for me, it's always a 70-30% ratio kind of thing, a little bit like my juice ratio. If I have any followers, they'll know like that's how I do my juice. So I like to make sure that 70% is still what I want to share, what I know works, because this is something that has helped me build my personal branding over the time. So whether it's faith, it's life, it's like self progress, positivity, and the other 30% is me being aware of what is trending. You have to know what's trending, but making it your own. So right now it's all about the reels, and so you got to know what reels works for you, what voiceovers, you always have to be saving things, whether you're doing it for your own
Mm.
Instagram or you're doing it for your brand. If you're not online searching, then you're not doing a good job being a marketer. You have to know what's trending, but making sure that there's a balance. So when you see a
Mm.
trending reels, find a way to make it your own. That's when you will really hit hard with the engagement, and people will share it. Like, trust me, it happens. So making sure you have that balance. For me, it's 70% mine and then 30% of what I think people want.
Okay, I think it's whatever that you just shared is really very good because at the end of the day, sometimes people lose themselves trying to cater to the needs of their followers or with the demands of the brands as well. I think it's very important, even as an influencer, right? It's to know your niche and stand your ground when needed. Great point. Okay, move on to Helen. What do you think are the biggest changes in online customers' behaviors from when you started Doublewoot versus today?
I think one of the changes would be like previously, because the market is not so saturated, and then now it's like so many fashion brands are popping up these days. So I think customers are looking for storytelling. They want to know the brand in a more deeper level than just your products. They crave for stories. Basically, they want something to inspire them, or something to laugh about, be it entertainment or like inspiring stories, especially what Asma mentioned, reels. So that's how people connect to reels, because they find it entertaining, and then they are attracted first to the content, and then second they will buy your brand if you can also create trust through storytelling.
Yeah, I think storytelling is also very important. People are looking for because they only see like images, 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 and we are always bombarded with them. But there's no depth to it. Like I think you guys shared earlier, people can actually feel if you really put your heart and soul into your content. And I think sometimes marketer we forget. We maybe put up a very nice banner or a very nice reel, for example, but it's just very mechanic. It's like there's no warmth behind it. So yeah, I think I think whatever that you guys have shared has spoken true to how you guys begin. I think staying true to yourself, being real to your audiences. I think this time and age, sorry, let me try take a step back. I think few years ago or maybe a decade ago, people only is willing to share the good side of a particular brand or particular person. No one wants to air their dirty laundries outside. It's not to the point of you tell a very bad story to your audiences, but if you're having hardship or you're having problems, to tell them that you're not perfect, because at the end of the day, social media has a sense of making people feel like I want to live their life because it seems so perfect. But actually, there are actually real stories behind, whatever that you guys have just shared. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here with us today. Thank you, Keith, for being here as well. I guess that is all the time that we have for today. If you don't mind, I'll actually just do a closing. Basically, move on really quickly to some of the rest of the slides that we have, because upcoming we actually have a next webinar that we have planned for the next end of this month. So if anyone from the audiences would like to learn more about content/influencer marketing, you can also join this upcoming webinar, which is happening, and we'll be discussing all the types of efficient influencer campaigns that you can run effectively and also efficiently. So during this session, we'll be touching on the types of campaigns and also the things that you can achieve your objectives without breaking the bank. We will be sharing with you real success case studies and some of the renowned brands that we have worked with. If you're interested to know more about the anniversary package or would like to sign up for the upcoming webinar, please fill in your details in the link that is going to be shared across the comment section now. And we will appreciate if you can fill out the rest of the form as well. We see it as a survey form to actually improve ourselves for the next session. And last but not least, if you would want to have a copy of today's recording, please also fill up the survey form, as we will be sending it straight to your inbox right after today's session. So last but not least, we want to take this opportunity to thank both of our lovely guests, Helen and Asma, again, for taking time off your busy schedule to share such valuable gems with us today. Lastly, here at Party Pulse, we share the same passion about helping brands to engage with audiences. If you're interested, we can definitely show you the way. So thank you guys for joining us today. That's all we have. So have a good week, Wednesday, and the rest of the week, and we will see you next time, hopefully. So thank you, ladies, and thank you,
Thank
Keith.
you.
Thank you
For
so
having
much.
us. And I hope we've shared something valuable today for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.